So what, Gay Suey, you've, oh, he's being silly. You've joined us to begin the 25th epistle of Deuteronomy. And we begin with controversy. How about that, Abe? So if there's a controversy that exists between me and some other individuals, and we call upon the judges. Of course, this is presuming that the judges are perceived to be just. And they will give the price of justice for the controversy. Now, whom impious, him they shall condemn of impiety. Pretty straightforward, yes? Now let's say they see that the offender be worthy of stripes, which is lashings. Yeah. They shall cast me down, let's say, and cause me to be beaten before them. Now, according to the measure of the sin, shall the measure also of the stripes be. So the stripes are going to be equal to that of the atrocity of the sin. Yet so, no lashings can exceed the number 40. No lashings are to exceed the number 40 for any individual. Lest thy brother depart slowly, torn before thine eyes. What does that mean? It means if the lashings exceed 40, then your brother is dishonored before your very eyes. Thou shalt not muzzle the mouth of the ox that treads out the corn in the floor. St. Paul, incredibly, he compares this to the spiritual laborer in Quies's church, the spiritual worker, the spiritual laborer, that he must have his maintenance in order for him to travel. This verse also intended for beasts, as in the oxen, of course. Which means this particular verse, like many we've covered before, has two literal senses. When brethren shall dwell together, and a brother of mine are dwelling together, or working together, farming together, exploring together, traveling together, doing everything together. He dies. My brother dies. And he dies without any children. His wife shall not marry to another, but me, as the brother, shall take her and raise up the seed of his brother. When I give her children, of course. His brother shall take her. Yeah, this is some controversy here, huh? Let's explore it a little bit. We'll explore it even more in the New Testament. Apparently, understand that this violates, or actually validates, not violates, this validates that the prohibition not to marry the brother's wife was a positive law. A positive law binding only when the first brother dying left issue. If dying without any issue, the brother, myself, is bound by the law to marry the widow. In default of the brother, the next of kin was to marry her, that being me, to marry her. And for default of near, the more remote, so Boaz, we're going to learn, marries Ruth. As we'll discover in the book of Ruth. Additionally, it wasn't contrary, understand, but certainly agreeable to the law of nature to marry the brother's wife when he was dead without issue. This was previously written and discussed in where else but the book of life, Genesis. Now, the firstborn of her son, well, I'm to call this firstborn by his name, the name of the brother, so that his name will not be abolished out of the land of Israel. More than considerate, huh? But, let's say I don't want to take my brother's wife, that by the law is due to me. And the woman shall go to the gate of the city, gate of judgment, and she's going to call upon the ancients. And this is what she'll say. My husband's brother will not raise up his brother's seed in Israel, nor take me to his wife. And forthwith they shall cause me to be sent for. And they'll ask me, same question, is this true? And if I answer, I will not take her to wife, the women shall come to him before the ancients and shall take off his shoe from his foot. Yeah, you heard me right. One of his shoes will be taken from his feet. They will spit in my face. That's right. And they will say, so shall it be done. That's right, Abraham. So shall it be done to the man that does not build his brother's house. So shall it be done to the man that buildeth not his brother's house. Spit in my face. Yeah. He that refuses to honor his brother is justly despised, according to these ancient precepts of Israel. And his name shall be called in Israel, English translation, the house of the Unshod. Yeah, that's what my name will be known as, the house of the Unshod. Very good, Abe. The house of the Unshod. In Hebrew text, it's titled as, translation to English, house of him whose shoe was taken off. The Latin text, domus discaciati, domus discaciati. Elaboration actually informs us to the Commonwealth. Such scrutiny actually exemplifies, believe it or not, a lazy and unprofitable family. That's what I'm to be looked at, as a lazy person, unprofitable, no future. Mystically, pastors and doctors must beget spiritual children to Christ and not to themselves. Yeah, it's a very abhorrent sin that any priest that abuse children sexually or what have you, yeah, there's an extreme violation of this. And some miss these spiritual children, as I was one of them, and I was missed. I was close by a priest by the name of Father John Gerard, who unfortunately died. Oh, but he had me. And finally somebody was listening to me and showing me, and but he passed, and that all passed with him, I guess. But yeah, that was the function of these priests, to look for such spiritual children, to bring them into the fold of Christ, which is where I should have been. But as I always tell you, these priests are human. They are men, and they certainly make a plethora of mistakes, unfortunately. The more mistakes, the weaker the leadership. It always reflects the leadership. Thusly, with this, regarding the spiritual children of Christ, they are called Christians, not Paulians. Those being converted by St. Paul's, they wanted to be known as Paulians. He's the one who did it. We're following you. No. We're following Christ. Paul kept shooting back to him. Christians, not Paulians. We follow Christ. And this response to Augustine, I'm speaking of, in his response to Faustus, the Manichaean, in chapter 31, and I urge you, everyone, to read Faustus the Manichaean, that paper. St. Augustine, he explains that he that's elected by the church to perform spiritual function, yet neglects such a duty, is worthy of reproach and infamy. And if the priests don't catch this, the clergy don't catch this, like for me, for example, Quiz certainly will. And they will have to answer to him, why did you pass on this young boy, this boy named, who's now known as Brother Sebastian? All right, we'll end this here. When next we meet, we'll continue on with about verse 11. Until then, from Abe, myself, and Patty down there, Pax Vobis.